Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel. We have a couple pieces of wire out here. I just recently purchased this Vevor wire stripping machine and updated or upgraded my wire stripping machine from this beautiful piece over here. As you guys might have seen in a previous video, I did a review on this product. It is another wire stripping machine. When I first purchased that machine, this machine was not available, or it was available, but it was about 3 times the price of this guy. So prices have definitely changed over the years. This machine offers a much more advanced way of wire stripping, and I'll get into what I like about this one and why I'm kind of transferring over from this product. If you're someone out there who does this wire stripping and strips copper wire or aluminum wire for scrap or some other purpose, you may be interested in purchasing this product. So we'll jump into it and see what you guys think. Before I jump too far into actually reviewing this product, I did want to make a disclaimer that this video is not sponsored. It's not endorsed by this product. I am going to probably be the only person on YouTube that does not have an affiliated link to purchase this product. I urge you guys to, if you think this is worthwhile and worth an investment or purchase, to search around and try to find the best possible price for this. I know with selling these things and doing the whole YouTube affiliated links and Amazon links and maybe even doing a sponsored video, a lot of YouTubers probably make a decent amount of money off selling you guys this product. But I actually went out and purchased this with my own money. I have no affiliation with the brand, and I want to be the first person on YouTube to kind of do one of these wire stripping review videos without trying to sell you it. So if you're someone out there who's maybe interested in purchasing it, you don't know because everyone's trying to sell you it, you can make your own judgment based off this video. What I will say is that I did upgrade from this. Every single video I tried finding for this wire stripping machine, if you're someone out there who might have owned one of these or owned one of the ones that had a drill attachment that essentially made this bottom roller a roll, this machine is very outdated compared to that machine. The one thing that I did not like with this guy is you constantly had to adjust the blade, right? Every single time you use the wire stripper, there is a blade at the bottom. You can see they're right there in the middle. You had to adjust that for every single piece of wire you put through that. So it had to meet perfectly to the bottom of this this piece of rubber, or to the top of the rubber, to cut the insulation. So it got really hectic whenever you tried to switch from this wire to that wire to this wire. It kind of became a pain in the, the rear end. So that is the reason why I kind of got rid of it, because it felt like to me that I did not want to actually strip any wire and make any money, because it was more of a headache, and I didn't think that it was worth my time to constantly adjust the blade and constantly try to put this wire back on the track. What I do like about this machine is that you will see when I feed this wire through these slots, I don't have to adjust the blade at all. It's already predetermined. There's different slots for different wire types. And because of the rolling system that is a little bit different, the wire actually stays on the rollers themselves. So it cuts through perfectly almost every single time. If you have wire that's too thick, this middle bar right here will actually go up. It will jump up. So that's really nice, and it will still cut through the wire. So let's get into it, and I'll show you exactly how this works. All right, so one thing I noticed when watching the review videos on YouTube is it seemed like you can never tell if the wire's already been cut or split, and if the machine was actually working, or did they just edit around the video to see if the actual machine worked properly. So what we're going to do here is we have the spool wire. I'll show you that it's not been clipped in any way. Now it's been clipped, essentially. But the wire itself, let me try to rotate it around. You can see there's no cuts, right? So it hasn't been cut at all. It hasn't been split. And then we'll turn on the machine, which I've noticed this machine is a little bit quieter than the other machine. Go like that. And then you find whatever slot works best. So this one's the first slot. You just let go, it kind of just takes it through. You can turn off the machine. Keep in mind, this is unedited. It will take off that initial plastic sheet of insulation. And now you can see the bare bright right there. So that is really nice. And then you just kind of peel it back. And this should pop off, okay? Just like that. and then you can just rip it all the way through. And then you have bare bright copper. So I know when I was watching videos, I was really trying to determine if the video itself was edited or clipped in a certain way where they made a mistake, and you couldn't tell if it was actually already cut or it was cut twice. So by doing kind of an unedited version of that, you can kind of see it works fairly well. In fact, it works perfectly. If you really want to, you can actually run this entire roll right through it. I do have another like a wheel system that I don't have with me right now, but you can put this on a wheel system and it will rotate and constantly rotate and rotate, and it will feed it perfectly in there where it won't it will never jam. In a way, it will never roll in on itself. It's rotating up. So this is the nice thing about this machine is you can do an entire roll as fast as that machine rotates. So now we got all of that. This plastic sheet should fall off here in a second. It's almost like a snake skin. Kind of becomes a mess if you do it this way. Easier if you have a bucket system. And now you'll do this through the entire piece or the entire roll. And it cuts very easy. The insulation likes to kind of fold over, so make sure it doesn't fold over on you. As long as it doesn't fold over, it really breaks apart with ease. So this is all the copper from that long strand we just did. I'm trying to bend it out. Make it more condensed so you can essentially fit more into the bucket. So just with that little spool, we just got all that wire. And realistically, the hardest part was just untangling the wire after it was stripped from the insulation, which wasn't too difficult. I just did a poor execution of prepping. But once you get the hang of it, or you have it all roll into a bucket, super easy. So this probably right here is probably close to about a pound. Right now, as of this video, it's about $4, I think 50 cents per pound for Bare Bright. I was not going to get too much into the actual value of wire stripping on this video, because I know as this video kind of goes through many years and weeks and months and reaches different parts of the world, the price will change. So if I said this was originally as insulated wire worth $1.75 or $2, now it's worth $4.50, those numbers might change as time goes on, but definitely just upvalued my copper by at least double by doing that. So we can actually try a thicker wire if that is something you might be interested in doing and looking at. Show you exactly how that works. We can even do, let's say, just go to here, and this also has that plastic, clear plastic sheet, so when it cuts, it will probably cut through both of them at the same time. So far with this machine, I've seen that I've not had to cut any sort of wire twice. With the other machine, that's happened many times, or I'd have to cut it on both sides. If you're someone out there who's been doing this long enough, the blades will eventually probably wear down. That's just the honest truth. But if you have to cut it and you feel like it's not cutting enough, sometimes it's easier to cut it on both sides. So it's the top and the bottom. So all you have to do is just run through the machine again. But as this is a newer machine, I've only had it for, a week or so. the blades are still very, very sharp. The other one I've used, the blades never did wear down, and I've used that for probably 3 or 4 years. So this one will probably be the second slot. Maybe it's a third slot. I think it's a second. That chewed up pretty quick. But it looks like it was actually the third, and the third works fine. So there you go. You cut the plastic, the clear plastic stuff. That comes off with ease. You do go ahead and find wherever it's been cut, it's been split. Just like that. I've noticed with working with larger wire, it's a lot easier than the thin stuff. I won't get into the value of scrap in terms of if it's worth it or it's not worth it to strip wire, in terms of the profit margins and all that. But I know with working with the larger wire, it's much more easier to cut and split and do all that fun stuff. But now, once again, you do have bare bright copper at a little bit thicker of a gauge as well. So that works very well. We could go even one step higher. You might be able to see the comparison there. Camera doesn't want to focus, but you can get the point. It's about, what do you say, about 5 or 6 of these. So we'll run this through the machine. I'll show you exactly how that works. We'll try this slot, see how that works. If not, I'll have to go one more, either smaller or larger. This one looks like it cut it. And just like so, you're going to see the plastic peel off. Very nice. Now this stuff is, I think you wouldn't call this braided wire. It's pretty close to it, but when you get really, really thin wire, the price you will get on Asher scrap yards usually will be #1 or #2 copper. It won't be bare bright copper, even if the color is bare bright. So try to remember that if you are stripping this and you're looking at the numbers and all that, and you're thinking if it's worth it. #1 copper, #2 copper is usually about 5% less as you go down. So whatever that breaks down to, if it's $4 for bare bright, I think #1 would be about $3.80. #2 will be about $3.60. So if you're thinking you're going to get $4 a pound and all of a sudden you get $3.60 a pound, if you're doing hundreds of pounds at a time, you might be very disappointed. But that was super, super easy to do that one. So I really like this machine. I would highly advise, if you're working with thinner wire, to always wear gloves. It is difficult to take the insulation off or rip it off of the copper wire itself. But the thinner stuff will get into your skin, or it'll poke you, and it doesn't feel great. It's very sharp. The heavier gauge stuff, it's not as sharp. I mean, it's still, like, that doesn't feel great. Kind of hurts, but I mean, literally the entire thing will just constantly poke you and poke you. So yeah, that is see how easy that was? That was super easy. Working with the other machine that I have over here, if I want to do what I just did and work with a larger gauge, I would have to literally go ahead and adjust this and then run it through, and then probably adjust it again, and then run it through again, and then I'll have to lower it. And it can kind of become annoying at times. So I do highly suggest using this one, especially for someone trying to upgrade from either the one that had the power drill. It would have a drill attached to the side, and then as you turn the drill on, it will rotate this blade or the roller. If you're going from that machine or this machine, this one is way better. They do make bigger models, and they make models that can accommodate larger wires. But as someone who's kind of just a homeowner doing this kind of on the side, I never really come across really much wire that'll be bigger than this. So it's a good size. Lastly, we can try ROMEX. It's probably one of the most common wires people find, and in fact, every time I bring it to the scrapyard, they do ask me, why don't you strip this wire? So ROMEX wire, we'll try that. That will go into this slot on the left, and we'll run it through and see how well this performs. It's actually the first time I've ever used ROMEX wire on this. I usually don't strip this stuff just because of what the price is of this would be called premium insulated wire. The amount of work that would go into this, I don't feel like it's worth actually running through a wire stripper. There's a lot of insulation on this. Other people think differently. It is what it is. You can think of however you want it. Your prices might be different as well. All depends on the scrapyard you take it to. You can also just use a knife on this if you're thinking, oh, I'll just use a knife. But then you will still have at least 2 more pieces inside that you'd want to strip. So it'd be much easier to use this machine to strip the remaining copper wire. Seemed like I had a little bit more of a difficult time doing that. You might have to actually adjust the blades and stuff. Turn that off. It's kind of loud, annoying. It's not as loud as the other machine, but you can see it cut right through it. Right. So with this stuff, very easy. Like I said, you could probably do that first step without the machine if you really want. But if you have the machine, you might as well just use it. And there you go. You got one piece is always like that. It's in this paper stuff. That's bare bright copper already, and then you'll have these 2 remaining pieces, which then you can easily run right through the machine. And obviously I'm turning the machine on and off and on and off. Once you get the hang of it, you're doing multiple things at one time. I think it'd be very, very simple just to kind of keep at it. Perfect. So yeah, that is this machine in all of its glory. You can take this wire and then drag it all over here, put into the bare bright bucket, just like that. You even got some more you can put in there. Once that thing's filled up, man, it'd be a great payday. So yeah, what I will say in a kind of a concluding factor is if you are going from this machine, and I found when looking at YouTube, there weren't a lot of people who compared this machine or compared anything else to this wire stripping machine made by Vevor. I would say it is definitely worth the upgrade. Being able to just universally use any of these slots for your wire really do help. Constantly not having to adjust the blades is amazing. I found with this other one, I'd often find myself kind of not wanting to use it. It just got to the point where it was just simply annoying to constantly adjust everything, and you know, I don't know. It would constantly, like if your wire was like this at any point, it would jump off of that track down there. So I know like with YouTube, there weren't many videos comparing this model to that model. Everyone was just trying to sell you guys on buying one of these, doing some sort of commission-based sales pitch to you. What I would say is if you're interested in buying one of these, you're thinking about it, I think it's truly worth the price. What I would say, like I said in the beginning, is make sure to cross-check where you can purchase this. You might be able to buy it from the Vevor website for a cheaper price than Amazon or eBay, but it's definitely worth it. It's a great machine. It will make wire stripping much easier, and it won't create such a headache of, I don't want to do it because it's more work than I really want to get involved in. So that's kind of my concluding factors here. Like I've said many times, this video is not sponsored, it's not endorsed, there's no paid ads. I paid, I think about $160 for this machine. When I first started, I couldn't remember what it was, but I feel like it either wasn't available or it was like in the $400 to $500 range. It was up there. They do make other models as well and other products out there very similar to this that are still at the $400 to $500 range, but this thing works fine for your typical homeowner. I think you don't have to go overboard and get the next model up, at least not now. But then again, I might have said that with the other one when I first got it. Anyway, it was a fun video. Thanks for tagging along. If you guys enjoy, hit the like button, subscribe down below. If you enjoy this kind of content or enjoy, you know, scrapping and other kind of adventures, make sure to stay tuned for more treasure hunts on that channel. Thanks for tagging along. Till next time, have a great day. Keep living the dream. Peace.